There's a story that's told about Klondike gold and the men who went north with their dreams, driven by the tales that came back down the trails of riches like no man had ever seen. Gold was the cry, and it cannot be denied. It's a fever that could keep away the cold. And there never will be a hardier breed than the men who pursued the Klondike gold.
Klondike gold is calling me again. Klondike gold, like an old familiar friend, and the trail to a dream that never will grow old is the trail that's leading back to Klondike gold.
To the Northland they came, seeking a claim to the fortune they thought they could find. From Skagway up to Lake Bennett, right on through, the trail wound its way through the pines. And their one common bond was a will to go on. It's a spirit that springs from the soul. And there never will be a hardier breed than the men who pursued the Klondike gold.
Klondike gold is calling once again.
I really caribou you. I'm a moon your way. It's hard for me to bear, 'cause I love you so dear. I really caribou you. Your salmon special to me. You give purpose to my life. I'm dolphin thinking of you. I wolf, forget I love you. Your salmon special to me. But I tripped on my bucket, landed in moose nuggets. It weren't a pretty sight. I came home grumpy, saw you wiggle like a humpy. Made me happy as a clam at high tide. You know a walrus love you. I will never do you any wrong. If there's questions you must ox, I'll give you the straight fox. You know a walrus love you. I've told you time and time again, you make me happy when you smile. And I have no eaglets, you were caught in my nets. I've told you time and time again. But I tripped on my bucket, landed in moose nuggets. It weren't a pretty sight. I came home grumpy, saw you wiggle like a humpy. Made me happy as a clam at high tide. I mastodon something right. I woolly struck at finding you. You're on shellfish all the way. I tusk, gotta say, I mastodon something right. You know all walrus love you. I've told you time and time again, you're salmon special to me. I really caribou you.
It's getting cold in Alaska, colder than it is in the Midwest. Getting a warm feeling for Alaska that I've already got the Midwest. Mountains, they are big in Alaska, most likes of which most never get to see. In the hills I've seen them rolling in Iowa, and from Iowa I happen to be. Northern Lights, 9 p.m. Alaska. The midnight sun sets down at 2 a.m. But I grew up right inside of the Mississippi, a river so much bigger than I am. The corn sucks in Alaska, nothing like the stuff that we ate in the Midwest. But the salmon fishing is terrible in Iowa. In either case, I guess neither place is the best. drive from Dubuque to Iowa City. Old Gregg Brown is playing at the mill. Word on the streets of Little Feet was written on the canine. And Early's about a town on an Iowa hill. It's getting cold in Alaska, colder than it is in the Midwest. Got me this warm feeling for Alaska that I've already got for the Midwest.
Sees your impermanence and all your imperfections. You can call it voodoo, you can call it what you want. She sees your bull in its lab room. She's a spy by nature, spiraling without a care. Sees you getting comfortable in your high-powered diva lifestyle. Make no mistake, you could be doing a whole lot worse, but you gotta suffer to know the truth. She's a spy by nature, spiraling without a care. You're breaking down the barriers, helping you to better see yourself. Like the two lovers in the tarot deck and a mud.
I like to see progress, but I don't like to see it come in Elfin Cove. I don't like to see it spoiled by other people coming in.
I guess a person has to create their own adventure. Although now it's just the kind that I knew is a little harder to find.
We are liberated. We can put on a beautiful flashy costume and we can interpret this sensual music to our heart's content, and people can just watch.
Welcome again to Rain Country, the weekly television journal of the people, places, and activities of Southeast Alaska. Greetings, I'm Scott Foster. Anyone who has traveled in Southeast probably has their own favorite location. If a vote were held, my guess is the title Most Scenic would go to a small fishing village. In the summer, its harbors are filled with fishing boats, many of them just passing through, while others call the Cove home for the summer. The population is not determined, but there are 60 to 70 registered voters. In the winter, the population drops down to a dozen diehards. It's located on the northern tip of Chichagof Island at the end of a series of coves sheltered from the wind and the waves of the North Pacific.
Elfin Cove has no roads into it. Boardwalks replace streets. There's no ferry service. In fact, the only public transportation to and from the cove are the mail planes that land there on floats. Most of the people that live in a place like Elfin Cove live there for one of two reasons, if not both: to be close to the fishing grounds or to get away from governmental and other influences of the bigger cities.
I grew up in Juneau, and I lived there for quite a few years. I went to grade school there and high school and a few years after that, and I finally found that I didn't know anybody there, even though I had a lot of friends, but it had changed so much since I had been there, and the value system had changed so much. And you know, it was, people were getting ripped off, and crime was happening, and people were getting raped, and those kind of things never happened when I was growing up there. And one day I just turned around and said, I don't want to live here anymore. It's gotten too bad for me. And that's when I decided to look for another place to live. And Juneau's a mini, ugly, big city. And I don't care to be there more than a brief period.
But even a tiny place like Elfin Cove changes. The most noticeable change in recent years is the influx of the sport charter businesses. Like communities everywhere, the introduction of something new often causes frictions.
We have commercial fishing drags that are certain areas that commercial boats fish, and there are certain rules that you run those drags by, just from historical precedents, and usually for good reasons. And these guys come up here and they run them the wrong way, and they get in your way, and they cause nothing but hassles. And I think they should be more respectful of the historical ways that have been established.
Resentment of a new element in a community is often sparked by a general dislike of progress and growth.
I like to see progress, but I don't like to see it come in Elfin Cove. I don't like to see it spoiled by other people coming in. I don't like to see too much stuff go on, like telephones coming in here. I don't like that.
When I visited the Cove, the only telephone in town was a community phone, but an area-wide phone system was just being installed.
I like the idea. I think it's a good idea. You don't have to run downtown through this deep snow to answer a telephone in the wintertime.
We're going to get a telephone. God forbid, but I don't see why not. You got to make calls occasionally, and whether you got to go downtown and use a public telephone and wait in line and all this other hassle, or just simply pick it up off your wall, it doesn't make much difference. You know, you're plugged into the telephone circuit. When you need spare parts, you got to call. You can't write letters. You're going to lose 2 weeks if you write a letter. So yeah, we're going to get a telephone.
Ironically, Roy Clements, who didn't want telephones, is the first in town to have TV. Roy, a 35-year resident of the Cove, installed his own satellite dish.
In my time, I never had to watch TV. I never got to see shows or anything because I lived out here and I lived in the sticks. I lived in the Taku River where we had nothing. And I lived there until 1939. So I didn't get to see too much. And then just the last few years, I got the chance to see TV.
Roy installed his dish only after an opportunity for the Cove to receive state-funded television was rejected through a vote at a town meeting.
With community television, you go to visit someone at their house, they're watching TV. Where now, you go to visit someone at their house, you sit down and talk to them, there's no television going. And it really affects the lifestyle of the people.
The community meeting that controlled the fate of television in the Cove is one of two forums that make up its municipal government. The other is the meetings of the Elfin Cove Nonprofit Corporation. There is no mayor and no city council. Whoever shows up at the meetings gets to discuss and vote on the issues and events that affect their lives.
Ferries, hydro, school building, community building, sewerage, all of the things that involve a community. Now there's a lot of concern about float houses. And what are we going to do about the boat harbor and keeping the things clean?
The Cove's nonprofit corporation was created to receive and distribute state oil revenue sharing money. 85% of that money has gone towards exploring the feasibility of hydropower for the town, and the rest has been dedicated to the maintenance of existing facilities such as docks and boardwalks. Gregg Howe, elected chairman of the board, lives on an island a number of miles from the Cove.
I think probably the reason I was elected as the chairman is because of that, because I live away from the community and I don't get involved in the little things that always seem to happen in small communities, cabin fever type things, you know, where people get nitpicky with each other over things that are really of no concern. And because I don't live there and I don't get involved in those things, I get along well with everybody. My position as the chairman of the corporation is merely as somebody to direct the meetings, and hopefully everybody will contribute just as much as the next person, you know, and that all the decisions we make will be, you know, at least the majority of the people.
One of the major improvements the corporation members are presently dealing with is a legislatively funded community center. The old Swanson's Elfin Cove store and the property it sits on has been purchased, and when plans are finalized, the store will be torn down to make way for the new building.
There's a lot of people that felt it was you know, why should we get this much money to build this huge expensive building, you know? But on the other hand, you know, there's no place for our kids to go play inside or anything in the wintertime, and there's no place for the community to get together, and I think it's an important thing to have. We now have a community building, and with the library and medical supplies, it's full. You know, if you have a community meeting and everybody shows up, there's no room. And we have no school right now, and as things stand, there's not enough children for the state to supply a school and a teacher. But if we have a community building that the school system can lease a room from, they may give us a teacher.
There are other things that will have to be faced in the coming years. The state ferries will bring an influx of transients. A sewage system will have to be installed. Garbage will become a concern. They may even begin building roads. And then there are the inevitable property taxes.
I believe in that when a person builds his home and tears out the stumps and everything, it's his home, he should keep it. That's his home. There shouldn't be any taxes put on our homes. I don't know, that's my belief. We pay enough taxes in our life without having to pay taxes on our home.
Just like taxes, change is inevitable. The people of the Cove, like all the people of Southeast, have to take it as it comes. But through personal involvement in their community meetings, they hope to shape the future to fit their lifestyles. As they work to do so, they can breathe a little easier knowing that, for now at least, time is on their side.
It's true that Elfin Cove is getting more and more of the amenities of civilization, but it's coming very slowly. And even though we have 3 fishing lodges for sports fishermen that are replacing the commercial fishermen, it isn't something that's going to happen overnight. It's happening very slowly. And I think we're going to be able to preserve our way of life quite a bit longer here at Elfin Cove than what's happening in the major communities of Southeast.
had a great yen for the sea, being of Norwegian ancestry. And went to sea at 15. And I went to Seattle and walked up and down the waterfront. In those days, there were no unions and no Coast Guard regulations. And a boy could walk up the gangway of a boat and see the captain and get a job. And the whole world was open. You could sail to Bombay and South Africa, South America. They were like magic carpets.
And so began the adventurous life of Amos Berg. He began as a bellboy on a small passenger vessel serving West Coast ports. Within 2 years, he'd earned the rank of able seaman and had sailed to Hawaii, Australia, Samoa, and around the world.
I like going to sea, you know, and but I didn't see any future because I wanted to change ships to go someplace else every voyage. And if you're going to rise in the ranks, you have to stay on one ship. And I didn't like this commuting. And Fred and I decided to, well, I decided to buy a ship of my own, and I bought a 18-foot Old Town canoe. We shipped it to Skagway, Alaska, and started paddling for Seattle.
Amos Berg's canoeing adventures had just begun. He made several historic river trips. One of his more thrilling was down the Snake. Amos began the trip with a slightly mad character who bailed out after they lost 2 canoes. Amos returned with a 3rd canoe, and before him was the most treacherous river canyon in North America, Hell's Canyon. To help guide him through, Amos sided up with a moonshiner who lived on the river bank, John Mullins.
I thought, he being an old rim rocker, you know, that he would be equal to anything. He did claim that he knew every rock in the river. And I assured him that I was sure that he did, because he'd hit about all of them. The rapids were really very dangerous. Today they have put a dam in there and they've destroyed the beauty of the canyon. I went through Hell's Canyon 3 times in a canoe, and it was the first time that it had been done. And in 1925, I became the first man to make the total descent of the Columbia River from Upper Columbia Lake to the Pacific, 1,268 miles. And then I made the Mississippi, the Missouri, and the Yellowstone, and of course the Yukon finally, and the Mackenzie. And my last river voyage of importance was I became the first man to take the first rubber boat through the Grand Canyon of the Colorado, which was 1937. Those are the days that I enjoyed most, I think, when I was river running. And mostly alone, floating down the Missouri with a little hand phonograph playing over the waves or wetting of the winds, and cooking my meal on a 2-burner stove while I drifted along at 3 miles an hour.
After a series of river trips and sailing to the Orient, Amos returned to his home state of Oregon, where he worked his way through school as a newsreel cameraman while studying journalism and photography. Amos then began a career as a documentary filmmaker. One film, Conquering the Colorado, was nominated for an Academy Award in short features. He worked for the Encyclopedia Britannica and National Geographic, documenting adventures and making films about the peoples around the world.
I used to make up my own voyages for the Geographic, because theirs were always much duller than I could think of. And I got a boat, a 26-foot boat, and sailed from Patagonia on the path of Charles Darwin through the archipelago south of the Straits of Magellan that he explored on the adventure about 1830. That was a very thrilling trip because of the fact that I was making the first colored pictures of the three vanishing races, the most southerly peoples on the earth, the Ona, the Alakaloof, and the Yagan.
During World War II, while on assignment for National Geographic, Amos survived 21 air raids in Chongqing, China. He received several awards for his Allied war effort. After the war, he returned to Alaska. He owned this boat, the Endeavor, for 45 years. In the early 1950s, he sailed her to Juneau.
One day I met the Clarence Anderson, who was then director of the Department of Fisheries, and he asked me to set up an information section. So we started it and began producing films and putting out a small magazine. And I was only going to spend 4 months. He said it'd take about 4 months. Well, it took 20 years. Because I stayed until I retired in 1976. Oh, I made films like the Bristol Bay story, the Pink Salmon story, Big Game Safari. And I guess a person has to create their own adventure. Although now it's just the kind that I knew, a little harder to find. I think that a person who wants to adventure becomes he has to look after his character. For instance, you have to look after your integrity, and when you're traveling, the wake is behind you, and you don't see all the garbage and wreckage of your life. But I would say that being honest and keeping your promises and returning your library book and making your life a part of the earth, or more or less all responsible for the beauty around us by the way we look at things and the way we see things. Each inspiration makes her Mars, the beauty of the stars. There is no beauty in the skies that is not made by mortal eyes.
We started a program called Safe Rides, and it's a program that if a teenager is out drinking and he doesn't want to drive, he can call us. Or if there is somebody that's riding with somebody that's drunk and doesn't want to ride home with them, they can call us. And the number is 225-RIDE.
I just like to emphasize that it really does not condone drinking, because we've gotten a lot of flack from some of the other people that are against drinking. They say that we're letting people drink and then they'll just call us if they need a ride home, or, you know, they can just call us and get a ride to another party, and that is not true. We will take them home, and that is it.
We started it because we were losing a lot of our seniors at prom and graduation. We lost Tina and McCamey, which happened last year, and then we lost 2 seniors because they were out boating with, they were drinking, and I don't know if they ever found it.
Flipped the canoe.
Yeah, they flipped it, so we lost them.
We just don't like to see teenagers die at the prime of their life, because, I mean, graduation and prom are a big thing in everybody's life. And, I mean, that just totally ruins your whole prom if one of your best friends gets killed in a drunk driving accident. It's stupid.
People are saying that a lot of the kids in that high school drink and everything. Well, if they do, that's not you know, we're trying to save our teenagers, and they can't understand that. You know, it's hard for us to try to explain to them that we just want to save the teenagers, and we kind of want to save our friends, and it's kind of important to us.
Because the way I think about it is, if we save one life, this program is worth it.
Have you ever noticed how easy it is to have a strong opinion about a subject until you learn something about it? Our next chapter on the Rain Country Journal is about a dance that's provoked some strong opinions, many of them just the opposite of what the dancers themselves believe about their art.
Belly dancing has had a checkered image among those who know little of the dance. However, there's no confusion in the minds of a group of Juneau women who have formed a belly dance troupe.
Expressing the joy of being a woman and the power of being a woman. The dance is a very powerful dance. This dance definitely says I'm a woman and I'm proud of it and I enjoy it. And being a woman is something wonderful and something powerful to be.
The Daughters of the New Moon hold periodic gatherings featuring Middle Eastern food and discussion of belly dancing.
It places some of the earliest ideas that there may have been belly dancing at about 25,000 BC. They find artifacts from that time of Venus figures, which were a worship of the female body as the giver of life.
There have been cave drawings back many, many thousands of years ago, which would also emphasize that this was not only a dance for women, but of the Mother Goddess.
Belly dancing, Middle East in origin, was introduced in the United States in the 1890s at the Chicago World's Fair by entrepreneur Saul Bloom.
The fair was a huge success because people heard that there were women there shaking their hips and doing lewd dances. And immediately Saul Bloom found he had a gold mine on his hands. After that, every hoochie-coochie dancer in the country immediately jumped on the bandwagon and decided that she was going to be a belly dancer. The term belly dancer was originally coined by Saul Bloom.
What they considered revealing dress and exotic-looking beauties in those days would not be considered so today. The nightclub entertainers of today are far more exotically dressed than those young ladies ever thought of being.
Getting back to the dance in this country, one of the people who brought it out of the form that it was being done in burlesque was Ruth St. Denis, one of the very most famous dancers of our country. She did a number of very well-known roles that were Middle Eastern in their flavor. Her portrayal of, I believe it was Scheherazade, and I didn't bring the books I have about Ruth St. Denis, but show her in some costumes that are very oriental, and the terrific and famous stage designs of Erte were for her performances of that show. And we sort of copied our stage set from his designs. We're not quite that good,
Well, we're working on it.
But we're growing. We're a very growing troupe.
It should never be overtly sexy. I think even most American dancers would agree to that. We, in our troupe for sure, never want any of our dancers to be really sexy looking. You may be that way and you may be very sensual, but you should always be soft. Do your movements well, of course, but never do certain movements that would be considered outright sexy.
Here in the United States, women have lots of freedom. We are liberated. We are allowed to go where we want to, when we want to, and we do what we want to, and we express ourselves how we want to. And these freedoms are so wonderful for us that we can put on a beautiful, flashy costume and we can interpret this sensual music to our heart's content, and people can just watch. And if they don't like it, they can just watch anyway.
And this is new for us, though. I remember I've been dancing about 13 years, and that first year, one of my relatives said to me when she learned I was taking lessons that, I didn't know you were that kind of woman. Well, now, not only does my family support the dance, my bosses think it's wonderful, that my commissioner thinks it's terrific. It's just an incredible difference from what it was.
Awareness is growing. Women's liberation is growing. And the understanding of the dance itself. Every time we perform someplace, we change an attitude. People think, gee, I didn't know that was such an art. That really is dancing, isn't it?
Thank you for joining us on our continuing exploration of the places like Elfin Cove, the people like explorer Amos Berg, and the activities like the Juneau Belly Dance Troupe that make up Rain Country. We'll be back again next week with another installment. I'm Scott Foster.
Yay, 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 yay. Ak'a, Tamaani, in days of old, there lived out people so proud and bold. Was their Yes, I know it ain't easy, and I know it ain't clear. And we feel the weight on our shoulders. We feel the weight on our hearts. Can you look out beyond the shoreline? Can you see what lies beyond? And these stories go on and on forever. And these stories belong to everyone. Why can't you know all the worries? Why can't you know all fears? But I feel connected through our stories, and I feel connected to all things. Can you look out beyond the shoreline? Can you see what lies beyond? And these stories go on and on forever. And these stories belong to everyone.
the soft-filled air flowing through your hair out on the ocean, with gulls up above and the girl you love, you can't be lonely. Through the foggy banks and misty shores, you can see yourself being reborn out on the ocean, out on the ocean. Rain or shine, it's always the same out on the ocean. The coastal horizon, the one you can't see, it seems so distant. Those gentle swells put you right to sleep. You'd swear you're in heaven, but knowing you're just out on the ocean, out on the ocean. Today out on the ocean, not wanting to leave that beautiful sea out on the ocean. It's more than
This is the Coast Guard Cobstay Kodiak, Channel 16. Vessel calling Mayday. Identify yourself. Over. Yeah, this is the fishing. Position is 15. Undamaged. Distressed vessel, this is Coast Guard Cobstay Kodiak. You are coming in broken and unreadable. Any vessel in the area hearing distressed vessel, please relay. Over. They're abandoning ship. Sinking!
When a ship sinks, most survivors are picked up at sea, but a few have spent as much as a month waiting on shore for rescue. No matter where you are, no matter how long it takes, staying alive is the bottom line. You can never give up. Everything you do has one purpose, staying alive. The 7 steps to survival can help you pull that off. The 7 steps for survival are recognition, inventory, shelter, signals, water, food, and play. Recognition is the first step to survival. You have to recognize and deal with each new situation.
Tom! Tom, give us a hand!
Now what?
You're not safe just because you made it ashore. It's as easy to die on land as it is at sea. Recognize that your life is still in danger. You can't act logically until you do.
I think the biggest feeling I had was I was just surprised to be alive. You know, when we hit, you know, I just kept looking through the windshield, waiting for some big rock or the side of the hill to come up, and I wanted to see it coming for something. I expected to die. My biggest feeling, I guess, I was just surprised to be alive.
After I got out of that crash, I was bound and determined I made it this far, I wasn't going to die. I was going to make it.
I didn't expect really to live through it. I mean, we were so far away from anywhere. You know, no way to get in touch with anybody. Nobody knew we were out there. And I thought, you know, we'll just fall asleep and die, because I didn't think. It was just numb. Everything was numb. And I didn't know what happened to my dad and Randy. And so we just sort of tried to sleep.
When I did get about 100 yards offshore, I went into a bad area that was really rough, and it tore my survival suit off. Well, I had to take it off. I was drowning. And then I found myself without a survival suit. So the depression went right back down again. It started all over again. I was like starting from the bottom. And I kept thinking to myself, well, you know, you might as well just give up. This is ridiculous. And I just kind of looked up and asked the Lord why he was doing it to me. Let me make it through all this just to give me another obstacle to go against. And I finally made it up to the cliff. And then I looked and I had another obstacle. I had to climb the cliff. I said, no, I can't take it no more.
Sometimes panic will follow recognition.
I'm getting out of here. Walking out's the quickest way to die. Tom!
Uncontrolled, it can kill you. Preparation is your best weapon against panic. The more you know, the more control you have, and the less you panic. Recognition is understanding and accepting that your life is in danger and that you must act to stay alive. Your first action after recognition is inventory. Inventory is taking stock of what can keep you alive and what can hurt you.
Hey, Skipper. Skipper, this guy don't look too good.
We're gonna have to strip his wet clothes off and see if we can't warm him up. Hey, Tom, we're gonna need you.
Look at what can hurt you. Major injuries must be confronted. In inventory, take care of people first. A hostile environment, bad weather, poor protection from the sea will all work against you.
We got out with our lives and what we had on our back.
Yeah, I suppose I think the first thing we did was try to find out who was still alive and where they were, and trying to locate the people and get them away from the wreckage was still burning, and get as many of them away as we could.
There were a lot of shoes and boots washed up. No food, but all the shoes and boots, and no other clothes other than just that one sweater. So my dad had a pair of boots on, and we got a pair for Lynn. And she put the sweater on sort of upside down with her legs through the arms, so she was covered.
Tom, how about staying with John? Ken, would you help me go through what we got and see what's gonna help us make it in this place?
Sure. Look at what can help you. Familiar objects used in new ways can become important tools for survival.
Well, we won't need this stuff anymore.
No, don't throw it away. Everything's important. Might need it later.
Your best resources are your knowledge and your common sense. Use your imagination and be creative. Debris on the beach and natural resources are important. There may even be wreckage from your accident. Anything could become a valuable survival tool. Inventory prepares you to make the right decisions. After you've inventoried your resources, you're ready to act. With a better view of your situation, you're ready for the next step, shelter. Protection from the wind, wet, and cold that can rob you of life. Shelter is anything that protects your body from heat loss. Your primary shelter, clothing, uses insulating materials such as wool or fiberfill to trap in warm air. Worn loose and in layers, clothing provides the best protection. Remember, keep clothing dry. Water can rob your body of heat 25 times faster than air the same temperature.
Skipper, we need a car for John. Now, we'd be a lot better off building a shelter. We could build back in those trees.
We build back in those trees and no one will see us. Why don't we just build one right here?
There's plenty of driftwood, that's for sure.
It doesn't matter what kind of shelter you build, so long as you use insulated materials to hold in the heat. It can be built from boughs of trees or driftwood. Sod, moss, and grass trap air like wool. They're nature's version of insulation. The smaller the shelter, the better, so body warmth can heat the space within the insulation. It should be airtight and shed water. Make a small doorway that you can block up.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah, it does.
Adequate shelter will keep you warm and alive.
I guess the plan that we had was try to get people close together as much as we could and sort of try to weather out the night that way. Maybe cut up the rafts some more to get shelter from the wind and the rain.
We knew how to put the sail up to where it's best, and by that time we were just about gave up on even trying to have a lean-to because it just kept blowing down and the wind blowing through. And so when we lay down to go to sleep, we just wrapped up in the sail instead, and it kept our body heat in there, and it was nicer.
I decided to dig and bury myself, and I put leaves and sticks and everything else on me. I don't think I slept. I shivered at 90 miles an hour all night, so. And I ended up doing that 2 or 3 more times. And the last time I did it, I'd found a tree that had fallen over, and it was like roots going into the ground still. It was like a little cave, natural cave. So I took the moss, you could pick it up in big sections out there. And I just kept putting it over them and over them. And I made myself a little hot, and I got inside. And
Staying alive means staying warm. That's why effective shelter is so important. Once you're warm, work on being rescued. Signals are your only direct way to ask for help.
Are you sure this is going to work?
Well, what the hell? That's the best I can do.
An airplane. An airplane!
An airplane! Let's get out of here! Go, 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 go! Woo! Hey! Yeah! Hey! Hey! Woo! Hey, over here! Over here! Hey! Home! Too damn late. God damn it! God damn it!
They missed us. How could they miss us?
You can be missed if your signals don't attract attention and ask for help. They have to stand out from the environment, and they have to be visible to boats and planes. At night, use signals that generate light, such as a fire.
At cost of living.
To a passing boat or plane, even a large bonfire can look like a beach party. The universal distress signal is not one fire, but 3.
We're gonna keep that one lit all the time. Let's have these other 2 ready just in case.
You can't have too many signals. Call for help in as many ways as possible.
Bueno!
And always be ready. Make signals that work when you're there and when you're not.
We listened for planes, and we thought we heard boats. And so we had some drift that we'd found, you know, some plastic jugs and some rope and stuff that we figured if anything came close, we would just throw it on the fire, and we knew it would send up a black smoke.
Did you try to signal him or anything?
Oh yeah, I saw him coming. I took off down the hill,
screaming,
waving.
Yeah, jumping up and down.
Yeah.
Were you the only one?
I think you were right behind me.
Yeah, I was in hot pursuit.
The longer it takes to be rescued, the more important the remaining steps become. The 5th step is water. An adequate supply of water must be found.
Skipper?
Yeah.
My piss looks funny. It's kind of dark.
Yeah, well, you're probably dehydrated. We all need water.
Survivors must stay healthy to stay alive. Dehydration is life-threatening. Your body needs at least 6 pints of water a day. That's 3 quarts. It's hard to drink enough when all you have is water. If possible, be sure and boil your water to kill anything growing in it.
Here you go, Tom.
Survivors have lived for weeks on water alone, but over the long haul, maintaining good health means finding nutritious food. Food is the 6th step, but what some people recognize as food, others may not.
Water's not enough for me. I want to get something to eat.
Yeah, while you're at it, get me a steak to go with my beer.
Make mine barbecue chicken.
Hot fudge sundae, lots of whipped cream, 3 cherries.
You guys are gonna be sorry when I get back.
Just a minute, I'll go with you.
Here, take this. I'm gonna go with them.
Yeah, I'll watch the fire.
What are you doing?
I'm going hunting.
Food's down here, Tom.
I can't eat any of that stuff. I'm going hunting.
That's wrong. Nobody takes off by himself around here. You don't even have a gun. What are you gonna do, wrestle it? Come on, there's plenty of good food down here in the tidal pool. We'll go get some.
Some people have grown up by the sea and can find food where others see nothing. Be prepared to adapt to a new and different diet. People have died because they refused to eat unfamiliar food.
Is this thing poisonous?
No way. That's good food. All right, huh?
It's not bad, Skipper. But I got an eye on a seagull over here I'm gonna get.
Come on, give me a break, would you?
Seafood is a good source of protein and carbohydrates, and seaweed contains many minerals, so the tide pools can provide a well-balanced diet.
I got it!
Unless you're allergic to seafood, you have little worry about getting poisoned. Stay away from clams and mussels because of the danger of red tide. In a survival situation, don't take chances. Eat what is safe. Limpets, sea urchins, barnacles, most snails, chitons, crabs of all sizes, and seaweed. Land plants are also a source of nutrients. Each region offers different plants. Get to know which plants in your region are edible.
I wanted a fudgesicle so bad, and she wanted a strawberry milkshake. Because we were so dehydrated, it was cold foods we liked. We talked about and candy and just every kind of food. Pizzas and what we would, every topping we would put on a pizza. And a lot of that. And we'd say it over and over. We'd say, well, let's talk about this again. That was nice. Let's talk about that. And we'd say things over and over and just imagine them so vividly that it was some sort of satisfaction in it.
Felt almost like you'd eaten the meal, huh?
Yeah, and then we'd eat our seaweed.
A balanced diet means good health at home. In survival, it's essential. Good health also means good mental health. The 7th step, play, deals with this critical need. Being positive and preventing depression is what play is all about.
Shit!
They're not coming. Nobody's coming.
You guys have been sitting around too much. That's the trouble.
One more limpet, I'm gonna puke.
Tom, you wanted to go hunting so bad before. Why don't you go ahead and see if you can't find that wire and put a snare together? You can take John with you. Ken will fill in for your watch while you're gone.
One of the biggest problems among survivors is depression. It can actually lower body temperature and cause hypothermia. It can undermine your will to live and rob you of judgment and caution. Depression and the loss of will to live are documented causes of death among survivors of traumatic accidents.
It just got to be a battle with myself on thinking of the positive things instead of, oh, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
Until you're dead, you don't stop because you never know what you can do. And the next day a boat will come by and you just keep going and keep trying.
The antidote to depression is play. Play means keeping busy to keep your mind off your troubles. Better your situation by improving your food, shelter, and signals. Make a game out of anything.
Left, button hook, in and out. I keep the ball. On 3, break.
What?
Set.
Amazing. Surprise, surprise! Strike 3! Strike 3!
Really makes me realize how much Susie and the kids mean to me.
Remind yourself of all the reasons to stay alive.
Y'all don't worry about me. I love you. Bye.
Remember that depression can strike when times are easy as well as tough. Guard against it in yourself and in others.
Gina, when she would be so despondent, and like my dad got mad at her and said, you know, if you don't shape up, we're going to leave you behind. And of course, there's no way we would ever have left her behind, but you can't, there's just no way you can do that and still make it. And it was the only way we could deal with it, was just tell her, you got it, you can't do that. And how do we know? You know, why should she believe us that we're going to get through? Why shouldn't she just sit there and try to be warm and try to rest? But I just don't think you can do it. You have to keep going.
These 7 steps aren't foolproof. They're not a perfect formula. Common sense and a little luck are needed, but the more you know, the better your chances to survive. Recognize you're in trouble. Inventory the situation for its liabilities and resources. Shelter and protect your body from exposure and heat loss. Look ahead and have signals that work with you or without you. Dehydration will rob you of health. Staying healthy will make the difference between life and death. You can survive without food, but if you have to wait days before being rescued, use your head instead of your strength in getting food. Play is a word to describe a positive mental attitude. It also means constructive activity, which helps you improve your situation. You can have all kinds of gear in a survival kit, but that's only a comfort kit compared to the survival kit between your ears. Use your head and the 7 steps, and with a little luck, you can stay alive until rescue.
Hey! Hey! John! Hey! Hey! Down here! Hey, over here! Woo! Down here! Down here! Down here! Woo!
Judging from their activity, we believe they're in excellent condition, and we're going to go in to hoist it this time. Over.
Everything you do has one purpose, staying alive. You have to recognize and deal with each new situation.
Now what?
Your first action after recognition is inventory.
Skipper, this guy don't look too good.
Your best resources are your knowledge and your common sense.
Now, we'd be a lot better off building a shelter.
Why don't we just build one right here?
Shelter is anything that protects your body from heat loss.
Are you sure this is gonna work?
You can't have too many signals.
An airplane!
Too damn late.
How could they miss us?
Survivors must stay healthy to stay alive. Your body needs at least 6 pints of water a day.
Water is not enough for me. I want to get something to eat.
Be prepared to adapt to a new and different diet.
I keep the ball. Break!
The antidote to depression is play.
Strike 3!
And with a little luck, you can stay alive until rescue.
And we're going to go in to hoist it this time. Over.
wildness will set your spirit free. I'll see Alaska only in my dreams.